Well, it's a very warm welcome back to the program. Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad joins us. G'day, mate. Thank you so much again for your time.
No, you're all good. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, a lot of hand-wringing on this side of the microphone amongst Warriors fans at the moment, mate. I mean, no one likes to lose, let alone new players. How's your week been?
Yeah, no, week's been pretty good, thank you. Like you said, it's not a good thing going through a couple losses, but we can't throw our toys out of the cot just yet. We've got a long season ahead, and I know once we iron out those creases, we'll be all right.
All right, talk to us about the creases from your perspective, because we can sit here and analyse it as much and theorise as much as we like, but what are you seeing that hasn't been going as well as what you want it to go?
Probably just letting the teams out of the end but too easily than what we would like. I think if we're able to fix those parts of our game up, we can go a long way to winning the game. We've been starting the games really well the last few weeks, and I think if we get that sorted, we'll go all right.
Starting the games really well, and that's, it's almost every game this year. We're a rocket in the first 10 or 15 minutes, but haven't been able to convert those chances and that pressure into points. Does that get frustrating on the field?
Yeah, I guess it can get a little frustrating, but I think we need to look at those opportunities as, we're in their half. We've turned the ball over in a good position, and it's just time for us to go to work with our defense. And, the more times that we can do that, that'll put us in good stead to win the game.
In terms of your own performance, how do you feel that you've been playing?
Been playing okay. I feel just a few areas of my game that I'd like to be better, probably more defensively than anything, and being in the right position in attack, and looking forward to trying to put a whole performance together this weekend.
You're doing so much work on attack as well. Is that sapping you in terms of your defence at all?
No, I don't think so. I feel really fit. I've prepped really well, and it's just probably more of a me thing, making sure I'm keeping my feet under my tackles, and I feel like once I start to do that, I'll be able to tackle a little better.
In terms of where you're positioning yourself and everything like that, I mean, do you go back afterwards and go through the tape of the game, or do you leave that to Webby to do?
No, it's an individual thing. We're all professional athletes here, and that's something that we need to do to stay on top of our games, and it's something that I definitely do as well.
I don't mean to be a smarty pants, mate. I'm just going to ask some questions, Charnze. Was there any taking the Titans lightly because they hadn't won a game at that stage?
No, I don't believe there was any taking lightly of teams, and teams are. It's an NRL game, and if you're not ready to play, you're gonna get stung. And like you said, we've started the games really well and put ourselves in a good position. It's just those letting the teams out of their end a little bit too easy for our liking, and being able to defend those penalties or errors or whatever it may be at that time.
Charnze, after the Souths game, we played so goddamn well in that game, and then, Aussie commentators are talking about this team can go on and win the grand final, all of that. Do you take any notice of any of that kind of chat?
Like obviously it's all over social media and everything else like that, but in terms of the buy-in, there's not a lot of buy-in from my end as an individual, and I know that'll be the same for the team. Like I said, we've started well. It's just about being able to turn the ball over. And I know, sorry for everyone listening or to yourself, but it's a little bit of a tape recording message. But
sure,
really, it really is being able to have teams kick out of their end and stay in that grind in that way. And if they do get out, it's being able to defend it. And once we're able to do that a bit better, we'll put ourselves in a good position to win the game.
When you talk about doing it a bit better, can you just be a bit more specific? What exactly can you kind of isolate and separate there and say, okay, this particularly?
Yeah, it's more probably the late and end of sets penalties that we considered. I think we had maybe 4, maybe just off the top of my head from the weekend, and it just relieves pressure. We had a lot of pressure on them, and then the pressure sort of turns around and gets flipped onto us. So if we can keep that pressure on them, I know we can take any team into some deep waters.
Also what was so impressive in South's game was what I call the offensive defence, like pinning them in their 22 and just smacking them up and just those repeat sets of 6 and that. I mean, that is the kind of thing that it must be fantastic to feel when you're on the field. Equally, it must be frustrating when that isn't coming off.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. When we're able to do that to teams and stay in that grind and stay in that arm wrestle, that's what we're able to do to, the best of teams. And we've just been letting teams off the hook a little bit too much there, especially when they're coming out of their end. And like I'm saying, if we can stick on top of them, we're able to put the best of teams away in terms of the Rabbitohs.
Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad is with it. In terms of staying in the grind, we were really good at that last year. What has changed, or is it just the way that these games are unfolding in front of you?
Yeah, nothing's really changed. We, it's a part of our game that we like to base ourselves off, and it's just about staying in the game longer. I think in terms of the intensity of the game, it's gone up another notch, and it's about us staying with the game. And I feel like we are. It's just lapses of concentration that we need to be better with. And once we sort that out, I feel like that's like the creases that I'm talking about being ironed out.
The margins are so fine, aren't they? Wade Egan, look, it was in the end when they frame by frame it, a little knock on. The last one with Devlin when he goes up, I mean, what is that, a millimetre or a fraction of a millimetre? And then we wouldn't be talking like this. We'd be going, hey, we've just beaten the Titans. We've got 4 wins on the board. Let's go to Newcastle. That's how close it gets, man. I don't have to tell you that.
Nah, yeah, it is that close. And, it's hard because I can sit here and say, it wasn't this or it wasn't that. And, those, the bunker and the refs and those sorts of people are in their position for a reason. And, I can't be one to judge and say they got it wrong and everything else when I can't even put myself into their shoes. So, yeah, it's a hard one, but we shouldn't put ourselves in a position where calls like that need to go away for us to win the game.
Yeah, there you go. And that's very honest as well. Again, it's a question that obviously when a team starts losing, you get all these comments coming up like, oh, they're reading too much of their own press. They believe too much in themselves. How would you like to counter comments like that?
Yeah, stick with us. It's like I said, if you look at the ladder, we're not too far away. We're only, win away from being 7th or something. And we're still figuring out, what we know what works. Sorry, not figuring out, but we know what works, and it's about sticking at that consistently. And just have a little bit of faith. Stay behind us.
Yep.
And we'll be back. We'll be back in the winner's circle soon for sure.
So last year, despite it was such a fantastic year, I don't think that any of you would have thought you've reached your peak at all. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I'd agree with that comment.
So that means that this year, you raise your own personal standards and the team raises its own standards again, right? Because this is what this competition is, isn't it? And it's not you or the Warriors. Every team's doing this.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, I'll ask you a question that's coming off the text then.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's
Sorry.
That's a great answer.
I thought you were going on to something.
That's great.
I thought you were going to roll on to a question.
No, man, that's great. That's all I needed to know. A question for Charnze.
Yeah.
How much impact does the NRL schedule actually have on a team's performance? A 5-day or a 6-day turnaround would be tough. Is this part of the factors that you can put to blame for the losses against the Dragons and the Titans, those tight turnarounds?
Yeah, you don't. Short answer, no.